wise, I would have planned like Commissioner Henry with an energy drink. That's right.
Good morning. I would like to call the May 8th Delaware County Redevelopment Commission to order. Will you please stand and join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Is that my roll call?
Mr. Keesling,
Here.
Commissioner Henry,
Here.
Commissioner Brand,
Here.
Mr. Wiggly,
Here.
Ms. Green,
Here.
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Did everyone receive the minutes from last month's meeting? And we also have minutes from the March 13th executive session.
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second.
Daniel?
Motion. Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Moving on to table business. 4A, Recovery Solutions Economic Development Agreement. Corey McConnell, I don't believe Mr. McConnell is here today.
Madam President, I'd like to leave that on the table.
Okay. 4B, Use and Road Funding. Tommy, have two.
Here.
Oh, okay. I'll entertain a motion to remove that from the table.
Keesling, so moved. I'll second.
Motion by Keesling, second by Mr. Wickerly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. So we're here, about the gravel roads.
Actually, I think this is a separate.
Is this separate? Okay,
This is the Houston Road.
Okay,
Fund,
okay,
where we
I'm
did
sorry.
the milling.
okay,
We did the milling quotes with, I
Right.
think, EMB and Midwest.
yes.
And then we talked about probably just having, the original spirit, Commissioner Henry asked. could
Yeah,
we
it's if we could do
Get
it
the milling and we do the paving. I
Right,
think we settled that last meeting.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do here, official business, is either adopt these milling quotes or reject them.
Yes.
I apologize.
Yeah, so you're up in just a second, for sure.
We'll be back to you.
Okay,
So reviewing the milling quotes, looked like EMP was less expensive on everything except for the longer distance that they had to hold the millings. So, I recommend that we adopt the milling quote for EMP. On an as-needed basis, I don't know if we'll need it, because the spirit here again was to outsource the milling and do the paving ourselves. If we have EMB do the entire road, they'll do the milling and the paving.
Would be done.
Thought with the traffic signals, this is Fusion Road.
Yeah,
There was some
we wanna hire them.
complete. Yep, we would, yep. So if we want to adopt independent milling quotes, based on what was received, we would go with EMB, the EMB package.
I don't know if you have any questions, but like what Stephen was saying, I seen you looking at me, so the idea was maybe we could go in and pave it once they mill it. Well, there's a bunch of variables that's gonna make us really where we can't do it with the loops and stuff. We're not really have the capability of putting the loops in. Plus, if they do mill it and we're doing another paving job and that road goes too long with just the milled road, it will make it soft. It'll tear the road, all the millings and stuff up. So basically, there's a order they go in, you mill, then, I can't tell you how many days later they wait, but if we wait 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, we ran into that on Tilson, and we had some issues. So it's just trying to keep everything together is gonna be the best way on this road. If that makes any sense. If you have any questions, ask them.
So basically when they run a miller down the road, they usually got the paver either behind it or coming down the other way ready to cover up what they're milling out. Because if you let that set too long, it just destroys it. So, and that job is such a big job, and with the loops in it, the stoplights and all that in the intersection, it's a big liability for us. And plus, we can't do the tonnage that somebody like that could do on a daily basis on that job.
I wish we could do it. If, I really wish we could, but it's really out of our comfort zone.
I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Got a motion, Commissioner Brand?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, motion by Brand, second by Kiesling. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Four C, Yorktown, Mr. Bruton, drainage project at Jackson Street near Camac.
Motion to remove from the table.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to provide you an update on this. We have spoken to BF&S. They're the engineers who are doing the bid documents for this project. Those bid documents should be finished in the next 2 weeks. We will then be going to bid with the expectation that we will be accepting a bid at the following council meeting in June. I believe at the last meeting, it might have been 2 meetings ago, we discussed some of the stormwater funding that was available from Yorktown. I went back and verified some of those numbers. I misspoke, so I want to clarify that one. I said that we had $120,000 every year of funding. We have $150,000 a year of funding. But 30,000 of that we pay to MS4 for their services that they provide to Yorktown. So that was where the discrepancy came. So I just wanted to clarify that piece. And then also just let the board know that we currently are reviewing our ERUs, which is the equivalent residential units. That's how stormwater fees are assessed on property taxes. And so we have gone and kind of audited those numbers, verified that we are receiving the correct amount per our current fee, and then we are currently looking at that fee and seeing if there's some adjusting we need to do moving forward so that these projects can be fully funded from Yorktown. It doesn't fix my issue this year, but just know that we're looking into it for future years. Questions, concerns?
When will it go to bid?
It will be going to bid here in like next 2 weeks. Yeah, we're hoping to have all the bid opening and everything done prior to the next council meeting in June, so that we can have an acceptance in June by our council.
So am I correct in assuming that we would likely see you back in July?
Yes.
Whatever
Yes.
bid
So,
we
yeah, we would feel comfortable having this on the table until July. I don't know what process this board would need to do to make that happen, but I hate kicking the rock down the road, but I guess that's what I'm asking for this time.
I'll make the motion to table until July.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have one thing to add to that real quick. I think Mr. Bruton spoke to Mr. Borchers. Is that correct?
Is this one of the property owners?
On the,
Surveyor.
no, the surveyor on the.
Oh, yes,
drain.
correct,
Okay,
yes.
and I did also, so this isn't
This isn't a regulated
assessed.
drain.
Right, and so what it looks like are, if they're receiving any $10 fee for the assessment, it's because if the water ends up draining into one of our ditches or drains, then that's where that fee comes in at the end, but.
Correct, yeah, so this is not regulated by the Drainage Board. I believe Commissioner Brand asked that question. I had some navigating to do to figure that out, and I actually went and spoke with Commissioner Brand about that afterwards, so.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
for bringing that up.
Mr. Borchers said it was actually never a county
Yeah, I think it was, when it was in the county, it was just a ditch that was put in whenever those homes were built. I would assume
Yeah.
it has deteriorated.
Significantly, Tom?
Just as an update, since you had asked about that, I wanted to make sure you knew that he did speak with Mr. Bork.
Thank you.
Thank you. For D, BCR WD TIF transfer request for 2025. Claim of $112,903.
So this has been on here for a couple of months. I was able to get a response back from Matt Eckerly. The response essentially said that these were just estimated numbers. So there was really no rhyme or reason where those numbers originated from. And so there was no issue with the fact that $112,933 had always been paid, had always been requested from the wastewater district. We're on the tail end of this to make sure we don't mess up anyone's accounting. After seeing that there was no issue with that, I thought it was best to keep it the same as it has always been for the existence of that payment. So the claim had already been approved from you guys. I went ahead and submitted that claim with the last batch of claims once we got that information from Matt Eckerly. So I just wanted to give you guys an update, and then this can come off the table now.
Entertain a motion to remove from the table.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No action needs taken. We needed removing it from the table. Right. Thank you.
This is ARP money, right?
This is the Delville tip. This is one that it is within the agreement that you guys have before that transfer goes to them. So this is one that's accounted for before the end of the year.
TIF, not bought.
Right.
Okay.
This was to help pay Chesterfield's bond for when they redid their, treatment plant about 15 years ago. Since Delville flows into Chesterfield.
For E, First Harrison Bank audit letter. You want to take this?
Sure.
Okay.
This should remain on the table. We have not had a chance to deal with this one. So Amber and I discussed this last week. Once the new director comes in, we're gonna make sure everybody has access to the information. And this was just one that did not come up as quite the emergency this month. So we're gonna get this taken care of, but we're gonna keep it on the table now if that pleases this board.
Thank you. For F, discussion regarding adoption of bylaws. The updated bylaws were updated. Did everyone get a to read?
Good.
I'll entertain a motion to remove from the table, if you so choose.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Questions or discussion regarding the bylaws?
I have the bylaws put together. I sent them out to everybody. There are a couple blanks in there just because I didn't know how you wanted to go forward. There's no requirement that when you amend bylaws that they have to be published anyplace in advance. But I did leave in the section about, how many days in advance the bylaw changes need to go to the board for consideration. It's the board that makes the changes to the bylaws.
Is it sort of
Put some other
customary?
stuff of the statute in there. Technically, the auditor is the fiscal agent of this body, so they're automatically the treasurer by statute.
Sort of customary, like 10 days would be a convenient posting ahead of time if we were gonna change the bylaws.
That's up to every organization has a different time frame.
I recommend 14 days. Let's do 14. I'm okay with
14 calendar days, okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
The 14 already included in that.
I think that was
No,
one of the
that
blanks.
was a blank, I left that as a blank.
Is that the only one, Mr. Brook?
I believe that was. Let me look and see.
I'm not seeing any other blank.
I don't think there is, but I'll double check.
And just for clarification, the bonds we have in place today are $15,000, right?
Yes, yes, they are, yeah. And that's a statutory amount.
Speaking of the bond, we've sent the information for Mr. Wiggerly. We're just waiting on turn of it, so.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt bylaws.
So moved.
With the addition of the 14 in the blank that's currently.
Second. You can withdraw.
Motion by Commissioner Henry and second by Mr.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Yes. Or G, bid opening for Park 1 second entrance.
All right, we have some bids here.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to remove this from the table.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
First one I have is from E&B Paving. Like E&B Paving's bid is $3,469,459.53. 3,469,459.53. Next one is Morphe Construction.
Can you repeat that, please?
Morphe, M-O-R-P-H-E-Y Construction out of Indianapolis.
Thank you.
Construction's bid is $2,878,000 even. 2,878,000. And the third one is from 3D Company in Muncie. I think you did a good job sealing these bids, man. When you said sealed, it's sealed. 3D's bid is $2,757,000 even. 2,757,000.
I would make a motion that we, take the bids under advisement as well, salt time plus our council for review. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes. Under tabled business, RAI dues for 2025, these will not be available until late June and early July, that hasn't
Right.
changed, correct? Correct. That can stay on the table. Okay, on to new business, number 5, Cowan Community Schools, Mr. Conley.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to present. Just to give you a little update on Cowan Community Schools, in case you're not familiar with us, we're Monroe Township. Right now, we have about 731 students K-12. We have about 103 full-time staff members. Last year, my predecessor, Mr. Brown, stood before you and asked for some help as the sidewalk project went in. You were gracious to do that help. I included in a presentation, hopefully you've seen it, those sidewalk, the connector to our elementary. It's been very beneficial in the fall and now in the spring when our students walk, they can come off the sidewalk and walk right up to the building without having to be in the driveway or on the road. So we do really appreciate the help in that. We've done several projects around Cowan Community Schools over the last year to 2 years. Just to update you where we are and then get to why I'm here today. We updated our family and consumer science, or if you're from my generation, home ec room, and it was upgraded to a food standard quality lab. So it looks like a restaurant kitchen in there. That was financed with some general obligation bonds that the board took out in 2023. We formed a building corporation in 2024 and issued about $9.5 million bonds approximately. And we're doing several projects around. We're re-roofing almost the entire junior high school, re-roof part of the elementary. We're redoing HVAC systems to upgrade those and to make them more efficient in both buildings. We're also updating restrooms in both buildings because we have some plumbing that for our elementary is 1975 vintage from when the building was built. With money from that bond, the interest, we've been able to replace all of our lighting in the junior high school with LED lights to save both on energy and in operations cost. And then one of the items that we're going to ask for a little bit later on is we're spending about $200,000 in keying, for lack of a better term, all of our classroom and office doors and our exterior doors. And these will all be fob access as well as key, and it will allow a teacher in a classroom to actually deactivate the lock from the outside. So if we were in an intruder situation, no one could grab someone else's fob and enter the room. So we're looking at some safety issues there. In addition to safety issues, we have our own SRO, and we were able to find some money in our operations funds last year to purchase a vehicle, so we have a marked vehicle on our campus on a daily basis. One of the things that we are trying to do from our rainy day fund is we're improving our playground, which if you're familiar with Cowan is also the local playground for our students during the summer. We're going to spend about $50,000, a little bit less than that, on some new equipment. That'll go in this summer. We're repainting our gym and redoing our gym floor. We're also spending rainy day money out of there. That's going to be about $100,000. Our hallways, our staff 2 weekends ago spent time on a Saturday and painted almost all of our interior hallways. We're finishing up those, getting those all ready for graduation. That's about $14,000 worth of paint once we get all the way done. And then we're also replacing some windows in our library and our band room that needed some repair. And those are coming out of our rainy day fund. So we're making an effort out of the funds that we have. Just to give you some examples, hopefully you saw the pictures of our staff painting. I think we had 15 staff members there on that day. So there is a lot of buy-in in our local community and with our staff. Things that you are very aware of are the economic implications of Senate Bill 1 for local governments. And for us, we're going to lose about 6% of our operations fund each year due to changes in Senate Bill 1. That's in addition to
we are now, because of circuit breaker loss, going to lose about 6.5% of our operations fund each year. So a combined loss of approximately 13% each year in operations. So that impacts us on what we can do in maintenance, who we can hire in maintenance, who we can hire in other areas. So what we're coming to you today to do is to ask for some help as we continue to upgrade our facilities. Our first ask would be for the second half of our Proxys lock system. It's about $95,000. We've already made that initial payment. That came out of our building bonds. We would continue to do that if not, if we weren't able to get some help. The other things we'd like to do is, if you've been into our building, our high school building, we have a wonderful staff. We do a great job. We have a facility that needs to be upgraded. It looks charitably, my teachers will tell you, from the 1970s. I think they're being gracious. So we've painted. One of the things that we would like to do is upgrade our hallway lockers. They are beyond repair as far as locks and parts and things like that. And then the next phase we would like to do would be hallways and floor coverings. Don't want to do the floor coverings before we do the lockers, because obviously we want to prevent some floor damage as we do that. So we are presenting a 3-year plan, a 3-year ask, $95,000 for the first year to help us with the locks, $100,000 each of the next 2 years to help us upgrade facilities inside our junior high school. I included some pictures of our current facility for you to look at. I also included some materials to you on what the Proxys locks are like and those costs, and then other estimates we've had for flooring and lockers. We know those prices will probably go up, but we're asking for your help and paying a percentage. We're figuring if we could get your help, that's going to come out about 75% of that cost right now. Probably by the time we get there, it's going to be closer to 65 or 70%. I would be happy to entertain any questions, and I do thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you today.
Thank you for giving us a really detailed presentation. I was happy to see that come through. It's easy to read and easy to. I appreciate that.
Thank you. If board discussion here, if we chose to fund this, it would likely come out of the Fountain Square TIF. Question? That's the closest TIF proximity to Cowan. That's Camp. That is in Monroe Township, correct? Yep. And if I'm reading the Baker Tilly report properly, maybe the balance is somewhere around $70-some thousand. However, I think it's going to accumulate $3 million this year. The Baker Tilly report. So we definitely have the funding in that TIF in Monroe Township.
So the sidewalk project came out of the industrial TIF last year.
Because the Fountain Square TIF didn't have money in it yet, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And thinking of that, that's the later half of this year. That does leave me a question. You said the lockers are welded together. Are they going to make it to 2026?
We'll make them make it, as we've done, as our staff has done. Ideally, we would like to do all these projects as quickly as we can, but we also are realistic in our funding as well as our request for your funding. Right, the locks, the access system, I think that's an important part, not only for the school, but for, we try to make sure the children are protected as much as possible. I would make a motion to approve the ask for the 95 for the new locks and access system. Revisit. Maybe. The other two asks you would revisit? Yes.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henry and second by Mr. Brand. Roll call, please. And this is for the $95,000 for the Proxys.
Mr. Beasley?
Further discussion?
Nope, go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were asking about further discussion.
No, I was looking at Commissioner Brand, and then I thought you were calling roll, so
I think you second.
I did second it.
I got that.
Okay,
'Cause I
so are
had
we
it
calling
on.
roll?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cause I'll say yes again. So.
Okay. Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Riggley,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We'll make sure, sometime, maybe September, October, to come back and, give you an update on how the lock project went. It's to go in during the summer.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Number 6, Delaware County Highway Department. Now we're to the gravel roads, Tommy.
Okay, so we have some gravel roads which we would like to get turned back to permanent instead of the gravel, so we don't have to keep putting gravel down every year. There's a couple options on this paper I gave you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. There's a couple options. Troy and myself, we kind of did our homework on this. This is something we can do in-house too. Okay, either option here, we perform the work ourselves. There's two different options here. We traveled to Hancock County, Henry County, Adams County, and Jay County to look at roads that was done with the chip and seal. Okay. We know what the asphalt, if we went the asphalt route, what it would look like because we've done that before. But we wanted to check out all of the gravel roads that had the double chip on them. So we did, and there's pros and cons to it. If you guys have any questions, I mean, I can tell you what I saw, or you can ask me questions, and I can tell you how it works.
What's your estimated, like, how long is a chip and seal road going to last compared to the asphalt? Because the price difference does not look significant to me, but I feel like wear and tear on a chip and seal
Well,
road is going to be.
And that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. So here's what I came up with and what Troy's came up with on this. So I'm going to tell you the chip and seal over the gravel. I mean, typically on an asphalt road, what is it, Troy?
You're getting 6 to 8 years out of our roads. It's got a lot of every year traffic count. But these being dead end roads,
But that is on asphalt,
Yeah, that's
not on top of gravel.
what the asphalt road would do over the chip seal is it would take the chance of us going in there with plows during the winter if the road's a little bit soft. After we go and put this money and build take this gravel to chip seal, so you gotta prime it, then you gotta double layer it. You gotta put layer 9s on it, you gotta put layer 11s on it, and then it's gotta cure out over the rest of the summer, and then the winter, if you get any soft spots in it, you have a tendency you might pull that whole road up, or part of that road up. It's not gonna be as solid as it as asphalt.
There's gonna be a lot more inconsistencies with that too. We can't do a core sample to tell exactly what's under the gravel roads, how much gravel, everything like that. So your sub base, we really don't know exactly what everything is in there. We know there's gravel on the top, stone on the top. I mean, honestly, for the money, it's a no-brainer to go the other way because we don't know what the time limit's gonna be or the time frame, how long the chip and seal will last. We can tell you on the asphalt, but we can't tell you on the gravel because we don't know. So I will tell you, I drove those roads. I was not impressed at all. To be honest with you, Hancock County, who I figured would probably have the best, was the worst. And their washboard, there's edges breaking off, there's blow-ups. You're gonna have that with asphalt too, but it's typically gonna be like a driveway where you put some emulsion down. It's gonna stick for a while, but something else that's a little deceiving is there was not $12,000 added to the chip and seal. You could add 12,000 to that total, that $161,811.30. Actually, you can add 12,000 to that because there's a fog seal which will lock stuff in that was not included on that. So I took notes, had that in my notes to let you know. So really, there isn't as much difference as that there's $12,000 more. If we could go the route where we could put the asphalt down, what we would do is we would come back in ourselves and we would maintenance them and chip over them. And I'm gonna say on the low side, on the very, very minimal low side on the asphalt, it's gonna be 28 years, up to the high side of 12 years, 11 to 12 years. And that means no maintenance. With these being dead ends, a lot of them, and not highly traveled roads, it's going to cut down on our maintenance and let us go to other places in the county that needs our attention.
That's a
And
good
you're
point.
already spending time maintaining these as gravel roads, correct?
Yeah,
And that takes away from our other road building processes throughout the county. I mean, because we do this at a minimum of twice a year, spring, fall, just to get them in shape so they're gravel. And then when they call in, if they have a reoccurrence, we gotta go back out and do those. So it takes away from our paving and our maintenance program throughout the year. And another thing about if we put pavement on these roads, like I said, it's gonna last a lot longer. Plus, we're gonna build them up, we're gonna get the fin in them, and we're gonna get the water off of them. Because it's not gonna be, water's not, that chip and seal we're talking about doing, we're probably gonna have water laying on it, just because it's so hard to get the road bed up, and get it the way you need it to get the drainage in.
I checked every one of these roads in these counties on rain days. Water standing on all the roads, highs, lows, dips, and everything. So it's definitely, it's better than just a gravel road. Don't get me wrong. It's better than just having a gravel road, but for the difference in the price, to me, it's a no-brainer. But I'm thankful for anything. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
Are we familiar with which TIF request is coming from, or is this spread throughout various TIFs?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I have a map of the TIF districts here, and I believe that's what Commissioner Henry's looking up to see if these roads are near, or would help improve traffic into or out of these TIF districts. So we would have to consider whether we could
Okay.
pay them out of TIF. I also asked a question of our legal counsel about using CREED money, and the answer was that yes, it can be used to improve, including road infrastructure, within 5 miles outside the CREED district. So we consider any of these roads that are within 5 miles of the CREED district as well. What I don't want to do is interrupt our current paving plan.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
would be separate and independent, so I believe we should take a look. You know the answer. We're just taking a look.
No, it's gonna take me a minute.
Yeah. I do have a question. How much does it cost to maintain the gravel roads, approximate? Are there roughly 5 miles of these roads? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, we've paid, I've been there, I think we paid Winery Road, and we paid 700 west, south of $1,200. Just take those off the list. I think we're down to 5.5.
And to your answer, probably, I would say, and this is a rough estimate, probably 20 to 25,000
A year?
a year.
Okay, and you've already graded and backfilled and rolled these roads once or twice this year?
Right, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so
Twice.
that's what cost the 20 grand.
Say
So,
twice.
Twice, yeah.
so if it costs, estimate 20,000 a year, and and the paving would last for 8 years, that's $160,000 worth of avoidance in maintenance, which is more than the delta between paving and chip and seal.
And also, like I said, that's us
Doing it.
to others. Yeah. That's, when we do those, it's averaging a good 3 days, probably right at 4 to get them all done and get back to doing our other roads.
This would be a huge, huge step forward for us in Delaware County to be down to 0 gravel roads. I don't know how many counties can say that, you know, and
On avoiding that preventive maintenance every year too, I think we should take them under advisement. We need to review the roads to see if they're connected properly to a TIF first, or a CREED, and then hopefully have an answer by the next meeting. That's my motion.
Second.
Commissioner Henry.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
I was also going to say, but didn't want to interrupt, you can approve them pending the fact that they are connected to a TIF also. So if we get in there and see that one may not be, and there's an issue that we need to take read or something, we could deal with that. But if you don't want to interrupt the schedule and keep things, if there's a need to do this before the next meeting, you could also do that, just throwing it out there.
There's, they've already graded the roads this year, so the roads are in
We're good for now.
good
Okay.
shape for now, so I think it's a good option, but I think we have time.
I'll get with Kyle, have him print us a map, the TIF areas and creed areas, and then a map of those roadway. I'll have those for the board.
And just one more thing, Mr. Brand and Mr. Henry, I did get a phone call today from Centerpoint. They're out on site on 600 West going to start.
Nice. Bill and favor.
They'll start the milling process. We're gonna try to get the milling process started today. So it sounds like they're gonna try to have it done by Monday.
And it's Case Construction out of Southern Indiana.
Out of,
Greenfield.
somewhere, Greensburg, something like that, yeah.
Have you got time to go out and look at that occasionally?
Okay. We're out that way, covering some pipes up today for first crew with some concrete and, head that way in.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Agenda item 7, ECI EDA. Commissioners,
Good morning, Commission.
morning.
You guys should, I give an updated sheet, I want to make sure everybody got it from the original that was sent out. I put a little more content. Madam President, the reason for my visit today is to give you an update on the 2024 events that took place on economic development. And if it's all right, I'll go ahead and summarize and answer any questions at the end. In 2024, we had 9 events. 3 of them were conferences. 6 of them were community tours. As you can see by your list on the community tours, a few of them you will recognize. Vitechnic, Project Turk, Colorflex of North America, Tubuline, Filtrex, Vaselli. These are tours that were come out of the 24 Washington, D.C. trip for the summit. These are tours that took place where they came in, toured the city. Some of them, as you're aware of, Vitechnic and Colorflex, those proceeded a little bit farther. In February of this year, Vitechnic cut the ribbon. They are out on Hoyt Avenue in the Industrial Center. And then last month, Colorflex of North America signed the lease at 1300 South Gilmore Avenue. So we are in process of starting that. Getting that set up now. The machinery's coming out of Canada. It has cleared customs and waiting for that line to come in. So we did a lot of events as far as the ones we got out of the 2024 show. The events that are on there, they're highlighted. We had 3 of those. That would be the SHOT Show in January, February there in Vegas. That there, we ended up with about 50 visits, 20 to 25 leads. We had 2 good military clothing manufacturers and an ammo manufacturer. Also, if you remember right, this is where SRM Concrete, the $22 million that we now have currently out on the rail spur came from. The concrete show kind of runs simultaneously as that, and we were always able to get a ticket from someone, and us and the other administration, we kind of popped down and went through that, and that's where we ended up finding SRM. The Washington, D.C. flight you see on there, that there was kind of unique. We were called there not once, but twice asked to come. Commissioner Henry was on the last one. Senator Braun. 2023 was a big year for international development. We really hit it out of the park with Select USA. We had a lot of tours coming, a lot of feedback. That seemed to grow a little bit. And then we had the success of Inox, Clearline out of Canada. Some other events, Senator Braun, Senator Young wanted to know how it was. Commissioner Henry can confirm. We kind of went into great detail over what we do different than that, even to the point a little bit that the state kind of copied our presentation and how we handed out things. So I thought that was a plus for the economic group and what we had done there. The last big one is the SHOT Show, Select USA. Last year, you see that was one of the biggest expenses of the funds that we had out there. There were 7 attendees in that. That being from the year before, as Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Reagan was there as well. All 3 commissioners. We ended up splitting for the first time, I think it was, Shannon, in 4 years, 5 years. We had so many meetings that we could not. Usually me and former Brad of Augusta, we would work those with a commissioner or a mayor there. We had too many, so we ended up having to split, and we each had our own separate meetings. Commissioner Henry would do one group, Commissioner King or Commissioner Reagan would do another. So we kind of split rooms and spread efforts so we could get around more and more to the table. Out of that, I did report in the commissioners meeting, and as you're aware, we're under some NDAs and kind of not trying to be secret. It's just the companies don't know whether they're coming and don't want to tip off the employees one way or the other until they have the conversation. As I went over them with the commissioners, we currently have 5 that we are working with coming out. I won't name their names, but they're lines of manufacturing, because that is all we are entertaining is manufacturing at this time. There was an airline or helicopter. One we're still working with on is a candy manufacturer, large within the United States, completely over all 50 states, 2 different chain stores. A varnish company that it ties into another steel manufacturer that we currently have in Delaware County now. A machine manufacturer that puts together machines from other countries here inside the United States and then sets up lines for them in all different fields. And then a plastic recycler. The last thing I'd like to touch on and going on in there is I passed out, some of you new ones have got the presentation book. This is the one that we'll be doing next week in Select USA. It has a pretty good presentation and shows you what services that we offer as a county, what the commissioners have us putting out there. That takes place, we leave Sunday. To give you an update where we currently are, it's increased since I talked to Commissioner Brand and Commissioner Henry. We have 27 meeting requests out there. We currently have 13 meetings set as of right now. As those 2 can tell you, that is a lot of meetings, and because there will be several more that will take place in the corridor and the atrium after you have your initial 30-minute speed dating contest. It really gets into, then you get into the nuts and bolts. Actually, what's going on? Sorry, Carrie. That's what it is. It's 30, you got 30 minutes and they keep it to a timer, and Shannon can tell you that it goes off and the tables move. So you got to get it done, and then you set up other meetings later, either for dinner or out in the atrium where you can get more into detail. So bottom line, coming out of 2024, you'll see the total was spent at $70,239.71. That leaves funds in your account at $131,070.07. I would entertain any questions at this time if you may have. This is an annual report I'll give again next year after we get through 2025. There's been no major expenses as of 2025. We've had a little bit with Vitechnic when we did the grand opening there. Colorflex, we're still working with that, so those are still coming in as we're setting up, getting the machines in from custom, and then Select USA right now going on it. After Select USA and those appointments come up, where we have interest, if we get them to visit here and the visit goes good and the commissioners deem it necessary, then the second part is we would go there, investigate their sites, make sure it is something that we want to do before we bring it back to the table here.
It was originally funded in 2023.
2023, yes.
Like the October meeting. I think, Carrie, you might have been the only member present for the meeting when this was presented.
Yeah, sure. I think so too.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
It was in 2023. I think the first year it was about a little over 50,000. Last year was 70,000. You still got 131 left of the 250. Correct.
My recollection is that this has been a pretty good return on investment for taxpayers and business owners and citizens in Delaware County. So I've long been a supporter of this behavior.
I did not total up the clear line investment Inox, but I mean, I think we're talking about $30-some million there, plus the jobs as we got now. We're at 40-some in Inox. I think you're close to 60 at clear line. and we just met with Didia on INOC. Let's just say that's gonna increase. There's two new lines coming in there that I am well aware of, that I'm working with them now, that will increase employment number, job numbers there as well. And these are going to be very good jobs. This is a very high dollar line that's going in there. Two of them back to back at the same time.
And this is not ECI or PD, this is a different org, right?
This is the alliance, yes. This is the ECI, Economic Development Alliance Incorporated, that was set up as a side, like the CDC. This is set up solely for international development. This was opened up, not only Delaware County currently is the only one that is inside of this realm. This was set up because other counties, Jay County and Grant County, have an interest to do this as well. Parameters have changed in that in Jay County or in Grant County. I don't want to get into those details right at the moment, but Jay County is still considering getting into being a part of the international development over their rule as far as the agricultural side of it. The commissioners have changed over there. I think Mr. Brand's talked to a few of them over there. Mindset is changing, ideas are changing. There's nobody knocking on the door. We have still got to go get them. And I think from what the state of Indiana has reached out to us, and like I said, Shannon can tell you from our visits down there, between our presentation, our coin sets, the way we lay it out, they have picked up on quite a bit of our technique and our presentation, which I think is a compliment to Delaware County. I think we're doing it right, and I think we've proved we've done it right with the international development that we've been able to bring in. And as right now, what we need is, especially with SB1, jobs. Jobs across the board. I want housing too. We all want housing, but right now, jobs are the number one thing. If we're going to income tax, we've got to increase the jobs, and skilled jobs, qualified jobs that we're not subsidizing on the front end, so that we have to subsidize on the back. These have to be jobs that people can buy cars with, can buy homes with, can plan vacation, raise a family with. We are looking at the high dollar technological manufactured jobs, and if you visited Vitech and you went through that, you see that with the automation, the new machines, the techniques that are going on. We are not chasing something that, to assembly line, drop a shoe. These are next generation technical jobs that we can skill up here with our agreement with IV Tech and Workforce, pull together and get these companies here.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving forward, obviously this board could change when you make this presentation again next year. I appreciate this presentation about Delaware County, but thankfully I live here and I know what we have to offer. So in the future, I would really appreciate it if we could see the return on investment that we're getting from this. If you
To
could
put the dollars to the businesses that are here,
you could-
I'd be more than happy to. This is the first presentation coming off of that resolution. I have no issue with that because those numbers are significant. I'd love to tout them right now.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because know
appreciate that
what they
you're
are.
bringing them up, but I would love to see them in a
I agree.
tangible form as
I agree.
well. So that way we have something to enter into the record other than just speak. Not that I don't appreciate that.
We'll go back and I tell you what, I will send that to you in an email, but I will go back and refigure what we have, what I presented you here and what those investments were as far as INOX, Clearline, and what we have seen as a return on that investment.
And then, my other question, with you going to Select USA next week, I'm assuming you've probably already reserved a bunch of that. Do you have an estimate on what your total expense?
It's
for
going to
that
be
trip will
significantly less than last year. Last year was 7. We're only taking 3. Me, Michelle, and Commissioner Henry will be attending, so those will be down. The cost of it doesn't come down. Gaylord is expensive. If the ones that know, they trap you into this event. To get into it, you're pretty much in the Gaylord. It's the whole resort. We don't leave it for 4 days. You don't need to. Everything is there. But it's expensive to get into the show. It's $1,200 a participant just to get on the floor, let alone the hotel, meals, and everything else, airline. So, but no, we can definitely. It's not going to. I would say that out of this, you're cutting to the third year. You're looking probably around the $16,000 mark there. Like I said, there were 7 attendees last year, so it was quite a bit heavier.
Curious. Thank you.
No,
I'm understanding. So this is more, you're working primarily with the commissioners on this work,
This is-
more the fiscal and the 7 attendees, I'm assuming that would be 3 commissioners and some other folks. So this year it's a commissioner, you and Michelle, but the overall, how this is going is probably more engaged with commissioners.
the commissioner set the total vision. I don't direct, I don't make those decisions. This money belongs to the commissioners of which county is represented. They paint the vision and give me the path they want forward, who they want to go, how they want it laid out. Shannon's been into it for several years here. James, former Commissioner King, did lead that at the one point, but yes, the vision is painted by the commissioners. We just fulfilled that vision. I have no request, and then I'll get that information to you on what the return has been. We can total that up and be more than happy to send it to the board.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
All right?
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
If any of you'd like to attend in my spot, feel free.
No, no.
All right. 13.
Number 8, resolution 2025-09, the merchant McIntyre contract.
This was approved last month, and this is the resolution that goes along with the Merchant McIntyre. I know Bill just went ahead and left as soon as he was done, but this agreement is actually a contract between Merchant McIntyre and ECI RPD. And so the money actually, when we pay the invoices, which the first 2 are on your claims for this month, the money will be paid to ECI. So what I've done, and that's in your additional packets I gave you guys this morning because they came in later. Merchant McIntyre submitted the 2 claims, and then I had Bill for ECI prepare an actual additional claim reflecting that we're paying him the money, but showing the Merchant McIntyre bills that he got also. But this resolution just memorializes the fact that you guys agreed to pay that up to $80,000, and those come in 4 different payments. So quarterly, correct? Right.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-09.
Second.
Please. Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. On number 9, resolution 2025-10, target industry study.
Same thing. This was what you guys approved last month that Ms. Lutton presented to you guys. The ask was for $25,000 to help fund the cost of the target industry study, and this is memorializing that agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Number 10 on the agenda, Baker Tilly, state of the TIF management report.
Mr. Eckerly presented this information to us by email. I forwarded that on, it's in your packet. In his email, the only thing we have to do to memorialize in our minutes is to acknowledge that we did receive this information and include that in the minutes. So that's all I'll do is make note that it was presented to the board, we received it, it was discussed. So there's nothing that needs to be done by way of a motion, but additional.
We checked, it has listed the commissioner members from last year, or is it this year, in terms of who, I might be on the wrong document. He has a listing of the commissioner members, and list, Ms. Green as president, that's this year. Who was president last year? I think, was that Bryce Conyer? Record keeping, it's in his PowerPoint part, and
Yeah, they did email me and ask for the list of all of that, and it may be that they just didn't update something, so they asked for terms and all of that information. I did send all of that. I'm assuming they may have forgot to update something on their PowerPoint.
thanks.
This was presented at the last county council meeting too, which is a requirement. So this is
Correct.
their annual fiscal requirement to basically file a tax return on behalf of Delaware County for all 27 TIFs by April 15th. And then this was presented at the county council meeting. I noticed it, looking at the details this morning, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the TIF districts that had more total expenditures than they had total revenue. So I will send Mr. Eckerly questions on that and copy this board.
Action needed there, correct? Any other questions regarding that? Number 11, hiring project manager for the redevelopment commission. Take this, Commissioner?
Sure. So, Mr. Bookout chose not to continue his services with Delaware County for either the executive director for economic development or the director for the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. So this board decided to put it out for bid or for advertiser for applicants. We received a number of applicants. This board approved Amber and myself to be on the ad hoc committee. We had a number of applicants that were no's, and we had several that we considered. One of the things in the RFP was to have an economic development certification. Only one of the respondents actually had that certification from the Oklahoma University of Economic Development Institute, and that was the Muncie Delaware County Economic Development Alliance. And their proposal was in line with the salary expectations for the respondents that made it through the first and second round of vetting. But if we're going to strictly follow the RFP, the only respondent that qualifies is the Muncie Delaware County Economic Development Alliance. Their response says that they had 2 people on staff and are training another one that have that OU EDI certification. I have the folder here if anybody would like.
Is moving forward, or are we adopting something, or?
Commissioner Henry, have that here.
Let's discuss it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's time to make a recommendation. You guys see in the claims, and I appreciate what Struvel's done, and the ECIRPD and Tracy Lutton's been helping with things, but it's costing us a lot of money to do it the way we're doing it today. And I think it's a burden on some of the folks that are doing it. We need to get a person in place to organize the claims and lead this board.
Commissioner Brand and I spent some time with Ms. Ludden discussing this, and I have to agree with the assessment. I mean, for the RFP, they provided what we were expecting, and I would like to see, I mean, we've already entered into a contract with them for economic development, so I think having a project manager, executive director, whatever we're going to call it, come from them is in our best interest as a.
I do believe that some of the resumes that made it through that have the pink sticky note on for your benefit, Commissioner Henry, these resumes could be handed over if we award this to Muncie Delaware County Economic Development Alliance. They could potentially screen these candidates to be hired as a resource to support it.
Clarification, this is a contract, not an employee of the county, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, they won't have county benefits.
I'd like to name of the individual.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay. So what we can do is, I think in the, I'm not going to speak for anybody. I think in the meantime, the Economic Development Alliance would do it with existing resources until they got somebody on board. Earlier comment, we could give them these resumes, let them screen them.
And we have received 3 other resumes since then as well that can be sent.
I haven't seen those.
I feel like you're doing 2 different things here.
Okay.
You're gonna hire them to hire our director.
They would manage it.
They would manage it. I get that, but I kind of feel like you're doing 2 different things here. We need to hire a manager, or are we gonna hire them to manage?
The RFP was to hire a person or a service to manage it. So
So you wanna hire a service?
before, it was Augusta
Right.
who employed
Yeah,
Brad Bookout to do it. So it's a very similar relationship.
Right, but we don't have a person's name. Is my
No, we
point.
don't.
So
Other than
so
right now.
right now, you wanna hire a service and then come up with a name.
Correct.
Okay.
conversation.
I mean, they're here, I guess, if we have questions of them. Commissioner Henry, I mean, I think that from your question is, do they have the capacity right now to start immediately? How soon can they start, I think is a question.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's when you're saying a name, is there adequate staff capacity? And we could ask them.
Do you mind coming up to answer
Thank you,
questions?
President Green.
1, 2, 3, I don't care.
I think in the meantime, the work that Rick Struble has done for these past 5 months has been exceptional in terms of keeping things moving. Absolutely. Agree.
Yeah, good morning. Tracy Lutton with the Economic Development Alliance of Muncie and Delaware County. I'm joined with by Elizabeth Rowray. We have submitted this proposal to you. We are prepared to go ahead and take on the duties of a project manager for the Redevelopment Commission, but we have the intention of hiring a full-time staff person to assist us with that as well. But we have the expertise on staff currently to help things move along. We intend to work closely with the law firm to ensure a smooth transition. But our intention is to hire a full-time person to take on these responsibilities.
I just would simply add that Tracy actually held this position at one point. How many years did you do it?
3 or 4 years, but it was a long time ago. But yes, I have had this role before.
So both Tracy and I are the people on our staff that have the certification with OUEDI, so we've been fully trained in economic development. But again, Tracy actually held this position, so we would pick this up and begin it immediately, and I know you help you dig out. I know it's been a lot for you to try to take this on and piecemeal it together. So between Tracy and I, we could immediately pick up and start doing this for you. But the intention will be to hire a person in that we can fully train. But then there will always be backup. So in the event of the proverbial bus taking one of us out, there would still be 2 others that would be able to pick it up and run with it.
And this individual would not be, once you hire them, let's say you hired them before our next meeting. I know that's probably a very quick timeline, but they would not be flying solo immediately.
No, absolutely not. No. There would be an immediate training, and then we would also ask that person to take the basic economic development class.
Right.
That's typically offered at Ball State University. Sometimes it's in May, sometimes it's in February. If it would be May, and we could find someone before the end of this month, then that would be fantastic. If not, we would start them on that course training in February, but they would be trained on the job.
Yep.
And we do not have anyone in mind, and again, would love for you to share the resumes that you received to see if there's anyone that would be qualified to fit. Obviously, the biggest goal is to find somebody who's committed to Delaware County and wants to see it grow and wants to stay here and flourish.
Yeah, at least one of the folks that made it to the last round prior to making this recommendation was a recent Ball State graduate
Fantastic.
with these exact aspirations.
We see a real benefit here of trying to bring economic development under one umbrella again. We've been quite fractured in our approach. We've had some really great successes, but I think we can do even better by being more coordinated in our efforts, having the economic development, redevelopment staff together working collaboratively. I think we'll see much better outcomes and build on our past successes.
I think you'll see really good continuity as well.
Knowing that we still have ECI Alliance on the 3-year from 2023, has there been thought to how that, because that work's going to continue this year on how we're working well together and I don't want to say not stepping on each other's toes, but also, there's work in place. Have you given thought to that, or were you aware of that dynamic? That they're already doing some things with us?
Yeah, we are aware of that dynamic. I think it's critical that we collaborate and work together on some of these leads and projects. I'm also attending Select USA. I'll be going for the first time, so looking forward to understanding better how all of that plays. I'd be willing to participate in meetings that are set up. But we look forward to being engaged in the international effort in the future. And I think it's really critical that whatever is happening with Bill's organization, that we are working together on these leads. We can't be proposing the same buildings and the same sites to different companies and not sharing that information between us all. We really need to be working together.
That's the goal, is for them to, Bill's part to be doing international, their part is supposed to be local.
And then they would be working closely with the commissioners, kind of like what Bill stated earlier.
Correct.
The commissioners are really managing the
Color Flex,
day-to-day.
they're trying to hand that off right now to them in the city, and so it's new, but right now everyone's playing in the sandbox. So,
I think
sounds
we
good.
need to be intentional about sharing information, meeting regularly. We'd love to have all of our staff. That's the ultimate goal. But
So we have salary and benefits of 68,000, dues of 1,500, professional development of 4,000, office supplies and technology 10,200, miscellaneous operating costs of 2,000. Total estimated budget at 86.2. That's correct.
Right. And at least that 10,200 would be a one-time charge, right, for the laptop and,
Yes.
and that type of stuff. That's a
Which one is?
startup.
So that's startup, and then
Office supplies and technology.
eventually it'd be 68,000.
we envision that
Plus any annual dues, stuff like that. Right.
We envision that this is the year one cost for getting this employee onboarded, set up, and then each year that person would work with us. We would set an annual budget for what their intentions are for the year. They would bring it to the Redevelopment Commission to seek funding, and clearly they're going to report to you. You're going to be very aware of the work that they're doing. But, something could come up in the course of their work that they need additional training or technology support. So that could increase the amount that they might need for that particular year, or you could see a reduction. But I don't envision that we're going to be looking at any wild swings in the cost for this position.
I would also just reiterate that the Economic Development Alliance will gain no money from this at all. This is just an attempt to try to bring us all underneath one roof, so we're all working together and sharing information in real time versus an email or a phone call and getting together for a meeting. It's just much easier to walk around the corner and have a conversation and say, okay, how do we fix this? How do we work together?
I understand it's a recommendation of you two, we proceed. I know Commissioner Henry was wanting to review things for a moment, so it's.
I'm done reviewing.
So I'll make the motion, we accept the recommendation of, the ad hoc committee, which was President Green and Commissioner Brand, to move forward with the Economic Development Alliance, with the proposal that was presented to them.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Kiesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
I would like to ask for the resumes as soon as possible.
I'll get those to you and then
Thank you.
Do you have to leave immediately? Please stay.
Can we share resumes, or we need to talk to the candidates? Probably be a offline question with you later.
I mean, we always ask to share the resumes.
Just trying to keep us legal.
The difference is it's still applying for the same position. I don't know that it's.
That's the way I do it. Moving on, 12, Isaiah 117 House Monthly Update newsletter.
And this, I had discussed with you guys by email. They're starting to send just the monthly newsletter update, and just for the public's benefit, I asked if it was okay to just keep this on the agenda so that everybody is aware of the project and the progress. So I will continue, as they're building their facility, to send those out and keep those in the link so that everybody has access to that. On that note, they are very close to their next phase. They did send what the request is going to be, but per the agreement, they have to have their doors and windows completed to get that next phase of the payment. So I would anticipate that will be on the claims for next month, that next request. I will confirm with Hannah how long it's going to take for the doors and windows, but by the looks of things, I think they're very close to their phase 2 completion.
Thank you. Number 13, Muncie Industrial Center Trail Update, BS Engineering.
We got, do you want, no, go ahead, me, okay. Amber and I had the ability to have a conference call with BS Engineering last week on Thursday. And at that time, they had not heard anything back from the railroad. However, last night I got an email with an update. The railroad responded back with several items to them and basically directed them to their basic plan when you're doing a public project. So, there was some communication that went back and forth between Norfolk Southern and VS Engineering last night. And so I think they're gonna get some clarification asking for timing wise, if the projected time that VS Engineering gave us on when they thought they'd be ready to complete this project is still viable. Given the lateness of this communication, I wasn't able to get it all in the board packet. So I'll get that out to everyone, and then we'll have an update next month that will probably give us a much better timeline on if we're looking at early fall to be able to do this, or if that's gonna be pushed back just because of the sheer timeliness of dealing with railroads. So I would say don't hold your breath for early fall, but we
I mean,
shall.
the fact that they replied is great, so.
Was it STV that replied or Norfolk Southern? STV is Norfolk Southern's consultant or advisor.
Right, and I guess I say Norfolk Southern just because they're the ones responding for them and
I got you.
evaluating, but, I just lost my thought on what I was gonna say in that regards. What did you just say,
You
Ms.
wanna
Green?
know if it was Norfolk Southern responding?
Or STV.
their advisor?
Right, but Miss Green said something right before that I was gonna, update. Oh, we also asked, we had not been being copied on any of the communication. So in that meeting that we had with them, and we sent a summary of that meeting to everyone, we asked that we be copied on all further communication, just so we're able to give you guys the real-time updates also.
And we're talking about two separate projects here, right? The Z Gate at the Cowan Railroad Crossing, and then what is this Cowan Garkey Trail Phase 3? I've
Okay.
never seen that before.
Well, neither have I. So one of the things that Miss Green and I are going to be setting today, in that conversation, we were asked if we were ready to proceed with phase 3. I've never heard of phase 3, nor had Miss Green. Mr. Brook has also not been advised of phase 3. The representative stated that he had been told by Brad Bookout that we were ready for phase 3 and it was going to be done in conjunction with the city. Ms. Green also is not aware of that part of the situation. So we asked for a meeting with him. We are going to be talking to him on May 23rd. I asked for more information by email, but we set the meeting, he asked for the meeting instead. So I don't have an update for you on that yet. I'm not aware of what it is, but my understanding from the brief information they explained is that it just extends the trail even, or extends even further.
Are you
From
talking to
where?
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
I talked to him yesterday, he didn't say a word about it.
We were pretty surprised when it was brought up during that Zoom call as well.
He seemed to indicate it was going north on Garkey Street on the 23rd, right?
Or east, I thought it was east.
Garkey runs north-south, so if
Garkey
you go
runs
from
north to
Garkey
south.
on 23rd,
But I don't think it was on Garkey,
East,
it was
it's
on,
east.
23rd.
it was on 23rd, wasn't it? But he said,
It was from Garkey to State Road, if I remember correctly.
I don't recall that in previous years. Carrie, do you recall? I mean, Brad usually would update us phases 1, 2, and 3.
I have no recollection of that.
I mean, so,
And this was brought up last year as well, and phase 3 was never mentioned.
so it,
And dealing with a railroad is always a lot of fun.
I don't know that the railroad is aware of phase 3 either.
Oh, good.
I don't think any of us are aware of phase 3, so it sounds like it's,
so I apologize, but I don't know is my answer. We were not aware of any of this, which when you see my notes, there's a big question mark next to the statement because
If you have any specific questions before we meet with him on the 23rd, please provide them to us and we'll be happy to ask them of him. Because I think we have all of the similar questions.
I'd say Councilman Bookout is fairly reachable, by perspective as well, I would think.
I would agree. Yeah, in the next steps, they're looking to bid this. There's a partial design or,
On
okay,
next steps for what? Phase 1 and 2 or
yeah.
3?
I just wanted to get across the railroad
There
tracks.
are,
I thought that's
we have
what we were
received
working on.
multiple designs this year,
Not for 1 and 2.
yes. But next steps where it says open bid, that is not.
The
for
phase, the
3.
phase two is right there in front of the saloon where instead of having to get the easement from Conrail, we were able to use the right of way. That part you guys had already done and approved, so that part that you're looking at on that document, that is all part that you guys have agreed to. The phase 3 was beyond that. That's the part I'm not aware of.
So there's a meeting on May 23rd.
May
If we
23rd.
have questions, we need to get it to you too
Yes.
before that.
Please. But this document that you have here is just referencing phase 1 and 2. That's what the bids are referencing.
All right. So we need to put that on the table.
Yes.
Motion to table.
Second.
Please.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yep.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes. Okay, number 14, ratify tax assessments. This was brought up last month as well.
yes,
We
and
put a not to exceed of $500 and
it was 100, like
was it 100?
yes, it was, and the reason was, at that time, the only information we had was around $71, I think. That would have been accurate, but for the 2 parcels in Delville, which put us to the 471. So I wanted to make sure that we go ahead and make a motion just to ratify that whole amount, just to make sure that the record is clear. And I think I provided the claim to you guys showing all of the parcels we were able to locate. And I apologize for the having to take so long to find them. Some of these are just not clearly labeled Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. So it took some time to make sure I wasn't missing anything, so no assessments were unpaid. So that's what the delay was and why it took a while to find them. So we are just ratifying the payment that I did already make to make sure they weren't delayed of the full amount.
And I did attend the Daleville Redevelopment Commission recently and asked them to pay their share of this out of the TIF remains. They tabled it. They didn't agree. They have more questions. They'd like to see expenditures out of the Daleville TIF, which I requested from the auditor's office. Motion to ratify the tax assessments.
Second.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggerly,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes. Moving on to invoices. Are there questions regarding invoices? There's quite a few.
Only a clarification maybe on the second one for pilot. I assume is that the pilot gas station?
it is.
ARP infrastructure. On the claims, it says $13,750, but on the actual invoice, it's $13,725.
The claims voucher
Yes.
is 13,725. The easement is 13,750.
Okay.
I mean, to me, that's probably where the discrepancy is on the claims voucher.
Yeah, all of the emails, I see what you're saying. All of the emails they sent say 13,750. And so that's the amount that I put in there. I don't know if somebody, I cannot tell you why that does that in their documents unless it was just an error on their part. But everything they sent me and everything when we found the old documents from Brad, this is actually from April of last year, and we were just made aware that it was never paid. They all said 13,750. I can send one final email before we submit the claim, but everything from
It's
the last
13,750.
yeah, the last 2 weeks
Okay.
were all 750. So
I can
that's what I
Make
went
the
with.
amendment to the claim. The actual physical document.
Well, I'll do a new one. I won't use that claim voucher. I'll do our own.
The claim's correct.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. The actual
So-
easement documents say 13,750.
Any other questions on the claims?
Just a point of clarification. So I handed out to all of you guys the very last one for 1,017.44 Lock Mueller. That was added. What I did for the public was this morning, it was added to the Dropbox link. So everyone has access to see that, but I updated your agenda with the new amount just so that you guys had an accurate one. And the public can access that too, but someone who looked at it yesterday may have seen the agenda without that last claim.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
With the addition of the $1,017.44 Lock Mueller. Correct?
Yes.
So moved.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yeah, so you're doing two claims for $1,744?
No, you're looking at the new agenda that she gave us this morning. The one that was in the Dropbox yesterday did not include the 1,017.44, and the one she gave us this morning does, so there's still only one.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
Mr. Regularly,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Just trying to make sure they get paid. Yeah.
Well done, sir.
I will only
Be
submit one
specific
claim.
about it.
Okay, no bond or bot invoices. Do we have any comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none. Any comments from the commissioners? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.